Hello everyone, it's an honor to be with you again. Welcome to this English news edition. Let's first start with the headlines. This Thursday at Kigobe National Assembly, the Minister of Agriculture and Livestock, Karini Mbarushimana, was the guest of the day. She went to give clarification on the palm oil process factory. She indicated that in the near future that factory will start to export that palm oil abroad. And this is the installation of the controls of the presidential palace. The inhabitant of Karama district of Nahangwa commune salute the government decision. It is after 8 years that the owners of the plots which are within the perimeter of the palace had no right to carry out any activity there. Merci Kama. Let's start with the details. This Thursday, the Minister of Public Service was the guest of the day at Kigobe Municipal to give the MPs more clarification on the report produced by the Court of Account on the functioning of Civil Service Authority. It was at the National Assembly where the Standing Committee responsible of Social Affairs analyzed the report produced by the Accountant Court. Jacques Soirakoze has more.
The Minister of Public Service, Labour and Employment, Gabriel Nizigama, was summoned to the National Assembly to provide clarification on a report prepared by the Court of Auditors regarding the functioning of the Civil Service Mutual Fund, which is responsible for providing health coverage to state employees. On this occasion, the National Assembly's Standing Committee on Social Affairs also presented its observations and recommendations related to the report. According to the findings of the Court of Auditors, several dysfunctions were identified within the mutual fund, including the absence of legal text adapted to the evolution of its activities, operations based on unapproved plans, weaknesses in control and management mechanisms, among other shortcomings. These findings were confirmed by the report of the Parliamentary Committee on Social Affairs. Minister Gabriel Nizigama acknowledged the Civil Service Mutual Fund is facing numerous challenges that hinder its ability to serve its members effectively. However, he stated that reforms are underway to address the identified issues. Among the recommendations made by the Court of Auditors, the Parliamentary Committee and the MPs are the adoption of a new law governing the mutual fund, its structural reorganization, the establishment of a special support and monitoring body, and the revision of existing legal texts, among other measures. The Minister assured that all necessary efforts will be made to improve the quality of services provided by the mutual fund for the benefit of its members. Several speakers also suggested that the mutual fund should cease the sale of medications and focus solely on providing medical coverage, a responsibility that should lie with the Ministry of Public Health. While MPs voiced concerns about the current state of the mutual fund, especially in light of future projections, the minister affirmed he is fully aware of the complaints raised and promised concrete actions will be taken to address them. Regarding individuals suffering from chronic diseases who are not currently covered by the mutual fund, the minister explained that the mutual is operating in accordance with the current legal provisions, but note that this issue could be considered in the upcoming revision of the legal framework governing the Civil Service Mutual Fund.
In the seat at Kigobe National Assembly this Thursday, it was the turn of Karini Mbarushimana, Minister of Agriculture and Livestock. She was the guest of today, and she wanted to give clarification on the palm oil process factory. She indicated that in the near future it will start to be exported abroad. In the absence of accompanying text, the lack of recovery force, financial and human resources, as well as the inability to enforce the right of users of artistic works are among the obstacles faced by the Burundian Copyright Office, Obedea, in the effective implementation of the law protecting copyright in Burundi. That was indicated in a two-day workshop organized in Muyinga by the Ministry of Youth, Sport and Culture. Didoneza Chaisaba has more.
A workshop organized by the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture through the Burundi Office of Copyright and Related Rights, which is responsible for the protection of authors' rights, brought together creators of intellectual works, users of these works, criminal administrators, judiciary and security officials, as well as other participants from Buhumuza province. The workshop was officially opened by Anatoly Irangunda, Legal Affairs Officer at the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture. In his opening remarks, he emphasized that artistic works are among the key pillars able of leading the country toward development. According to him, when authors' rights are protected, creators can generate income that improves their living conditions while contributing to national development instead of working without benefiting from the fruits of their efforts, as their works are often used without compensation. The workshop provided an occasion for exchanges and reflection on the role of intellectual works in national development. The key stakeholders responsible for protecting authors' rights, as well as the legal framework governing intellectual property and other related aspects. Regarding the law on the protection of authors' rights, which has now been fully implemented, Claudette Mukanguranga, director of Obedea, pointed out challenges that are hindering its implementation. This includes the absence of implementing and accompanying regulations, the lack of enforcement power to correct royalties from users of artistic works, and insufficient human resources. At the end of the workshop, all participants called on the government to provide Obedea with enforcement authority, as well as the financial, material and human resources necessary to ensure that intellectual property becomes a genuine lever for development of households and the country as well.
The young beneficiaries of loans from the BID Youth Investment Bank, grouped into cooperatives and companies, state that this financing has promoted their development and job creation. It was during a field visit carried out Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday by the Managing Director Geoffrey Nyengurutse as part of the week marking 5 years anniversary. Jacques Soirakoze has more.
These are young entrepreneurs grouped into cooperatives and associations who have benefited from loans granted by the Youth Investment Bank BID. These young people were visited to assess how the funds received were used. According to their testimonies, the loans allowed them to grow their projects, improve their economic well-being, and even create opportunities for others. As Desiree Buchumi, president of the Burundi Tourism Service Cooperative, which produces bread and donuts, he explained that thanks to the 50 million Burundian francs loan granted by BID, the cooperative was able to purchase a plot of land, which has enabled further development. For her part, Irene Munezero, president of the Développement de la Femme Vulnérable EFV cooperative active in maize flour production, said that funding had a positive impact on the life of their cooperative. These young entrepreneurs are calling on their peers to get involved in income-generating activities and not to be afraid to launch their own projects. According to Lonjeni Kwisigila, president of Kirumala Mumuryango, which works in the health sector, encourages young people not to wait for government jobs, but instead to join cooperatives, pool their resources, and approach institutions like BID for funding. A similar message came from Desiree Nizigimana, president of the Lumière des Jeunes cooperative, which cultivates rice in Chibitoke Canyon. He urges young people to change their mindset, avoid idleness, and learn from their experiences of other entrepreneurs. Geoffrey Nyengurutse, managing director of BID, expressed satisfaction with what the young people have achieved thanks to the bank's support. He highlighted that over the past 5 years, many young people have been supported since the bank started offering loans. It's worth noting that bid was officially inaugurated on April 15th, 2020, but only began distributing loans to young people starting January 6th, 2021.
Well, let's turn to Gitega Province, where the governor of Gitega Province visited the Shedela Medical Center of Nyabututsi in Gitega Province this Thursday, so to see the way they're operating state. The governor welcomes this initiative, which is a part of the national vision of promoting the quality of care offered to population in order to achieve the government vision of an emerging country in 2040 and developed in 2060. And this is the installation of the contours of the presidential palace. The inhabitant of Karama district of Nahangwa commune salute the government decision. It is after 8 years that the owners of the plots which are within the perimeter of the palace had no right to carry out any activity there. Take a look.
These boundary makers you see have been installed 100 meters from National Road number 1 in Kalama neighborhood, Rubirizi zone, Nahangwa commune, Bujumbura province. They mark the area designated for the residence of the head of state. A significant portion of land belonging to the population had previously been included within the perimeter of the presidential palace. Jean-Marie Nduwayo, a resident of the area, expressed his satisfaction with this decision, saying it was long awaited as no one was allowed to carry out an activity on that land. Lohan Himulangeza, the chief of Kalama neighborhood, also welcomed the presidential palace boundary demarcation, calling it an area for the people of Kalama who had long been asking the authorities about their fate. He also urged the individuals whose plots fall within the 100 meter perimeter and who have not yet been compensated should either be indemnified or allocated alternative land.
Well, this is the end of this English News edition. Thank you for your attention. Have a good time.